If there's one thing that I know, it's that gun owners don't like registries. They don't want to be on a list, and they don't want their information to be freely shared among the public. They don't want people necessarily to know where they live and what guns they do or don't own. Well, it appears as if it's not always just the federal government that's going to be obtaining that information and tracking it. Popular website guns.com was recently hacked, and that might seem like not a big deal at first, but when I tell you what information was leaked, you're probably going to want to make some changes as far as some of the daily habits that you might have. And we're going to talk about how you can protect yourself from having your information stolen or hacked, as well as talk about what's going on. So if we look at the title of this article, now keep in mind this article was originally written in a way that is very anti-gun, and we'll talk about that in a second, but Guns.com gets hacked, spilling gun owner information all over the dark web. Not a good thing, right? Well, what if I told you this wasn't the first time that something like this has happened? The popular alternative to Twitter, Parler, was recently found to have very poor security, and it was one of those things where they were able to very easily figure out people's sensitive information. Not exactly a good thing, but this is even worse. Now here's the first paragraph. We're going to read this. We're going to talk about it. We got to get it out of the way. Watch out, firearms lovers. The subtly named Guns.com, a place where Americans can go to pick out whatever stylish boomstick they like and have it shipped straight to their neck of the woods, seems to have a pretty awful data breach on its hands. That's a pretty weird way to say that they got hacked and that gun owners might be concerned. Well, because the original way that this was written was along the lines of having it shipped straight to your door. Now, instead of actually owning up to the fact that they published blatant lies, because you can't just order a gun online and have it shipped straight to your door generally, they just said, oh, we'll just change it to ship it straight to their neck of the woods, to still imply as if there's some sort of online loophole, which is something that we're seeing bills that will be talked about later today that might be covering. So it's all propaganda. It's all part of their agenda. Anti-gunners are going to be anti-gun. Even when they're proven that they're wrong, they're still going to hold to their beliefs and try to push an agenda that ultimately disarms you. Back in January, a hacker temporarily disabled the company's website. Guns.com claimed that initially this was just to keep the business from operating, that the hacker just wanted to do it politically to stop people from being able to buy guns. This week, a large cache of files allegedly taken from the site appeared on the popular dark website Raid forums. Allegedly everything from troves of consumer and administrative data to the site's stolen source code, free to all comers. Basically saying, if you wanted to fuck with this website, they got all the information on how to do it, how it was set up, everything. They can figure out literally everything on this website. The data dump shows substantial gun buyer information, including user IDs, full names, email addresses, phone numbers, hashed passwords, and most alarmingly, physical addresses. This information was posted freely on the internet. Do you think the government might have a copy of this? I don't know. I'll leave that up for you to decide. But ultimately, having your information out there like that is not a good thing. It also goes on to show that the basic security on the website was very low, showing that some of the information was just stored on an Excel file, meaning that all the administrative data, the administrator login information for them to do everything on the back end of the website and look at all your information, was just stored on an Excel sheet, not secured whatsoever. And that many of these passwords and whatnot for users were also found. And that really gets me to the next point. When it comes to internet security, you're going to want to make sure that you do a few things. I honestly think that I might have been involved in a data leak like this. I got an email about a week before this article was posted, or maybe a few days, I think, and that puts it around the same time frame that this website password information was dumped. I got an email from someone that ended up in my junk folder saying that they knew one of my passwords, and this was a password that I used to use on various sites several years ago. I'm pretty sure it could have been potentially this website as well. They said basically it's like a scam where they're like, hey, we know that you use this website. We hacked into your computer and we got your webcam information and we were watching you spank the monkey, jerk the chicken, whatever it is that you want to use to describe masturbation. They said that they had video of my screen and myself. Now, did they have that information? No. But it's things like that where they get a password and an email. Now, most people tend to use the same password and email combination for every website they go on. And that's a horrible idea. This is something that I've changed a lot over time because in the past year, since getting a lot larger on this platform, all of my accounts have been targeted through various hacking attempts, or people have attempted to break into my various online accounts significantly more often in the last year. I've had to start using more creative passwords. I use an app called LastPass, which generates random, super hard to guess, very difficult passwords that can then, I know the master password for that, and it helps me log in and keep track of all my passwords. LastPass is a pretty good one. If you've been around on YouTube long enough, you've probably seen someone do an ad read for them. This is not an ad read for them. This is not an ad read for a VPN provider. I use LastPass because it helps me make more secure passwords, and it helps me not have to use the same password for everything, keeping me more secure. At the very least, if you're not going to go change all of your passwords for everything, change the password to your email and change the password to your banks. If those are the only two things that I can convince you to go change right now, if you're a gun owner, or if you've used guns.com, or if you've used Parler, any of those two websites that are very popular, you're going to want to make sure that you at least change those, because if someone gets some random website that you happen to use monkeybutt41 as your password, and they know that it is whatever, johnsmith@gmail.com, if they get that combination, and that happens to be the same combination you use for your email, oof, they can get into anything. If they can get into your email, they can most likely reset most of your passwords. I use a VPN on the internet to help keep me more secure, but it's not necessarily going to protect your passwords per se. With the way most things are set up nowadays, pretty much every website is going to be secure in a sense that if you're on public Wi-Fi, they can't just steal your password. The biggest thing that I really like VPNs for is if you're using a public Wi-Fi, or maybe it's your work Wi-Fi, or maybe it's your school Wi-Fi, whatever it is. VPNs can sometimes get past content blockers and not allow them to track what it is you're looking at, because you're connecting to the VPN. The VPN is then connecting to whatever it is on the internet, and it scrambles that information up and sends it to you without them knowing what specifically you're watching. Situations like this is just one of those times when we realize how dangerous having your information out on the internet is, and it's up to you to determine how secure you want to be. Personally, for me, all my accounts now are protected by multi-factor authentication, meaning that when I want to log into anything, I have to go on an app on my phone, sign in through there, and copy the unique code. So once I successfully sign in with my correct name or username and password, I then have to copy that code from Google Authenticator or Authy or Microsoft Authenticator. There's several authenticator apps on the websites that you can use to then make sure that people can't get into it. There have been some hacks, and it's happened to me recently with my Activision account, that they were able to bypass the SMS, meaning the text message based authentication, and that's huge. I know I'm getting kind of nerdy with this, but if you can just take a few takeaways from this: change the password to your email address, change the password to your bank, download an authenticator app like Authy, Google Authenticator, or Microsoft Authenticator, and set that up for your various online social media accounts. You guys know the drill. Have fun, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace. Okay, like seriously though, whoever's trying to fucking hack my Twitter, give up. Please stop trying to hack my Twitter. You're not getting in.